Welcome to Spotlight KLVW-TV. This is Renee, and with me, the guest today is Alan Bonet. He is a musician, and he's going to tell us a little about his life history and the music that he plays. Alan, hello, welcome to our show.
Hello, everybody.
I'd like to ask you, how, why, and when did you get started playing music?
Well, I grew up in a little town called Ewing, New Jersey, and I was 11 years old back in 1966, and my first introduction to music was by an older guy that lived around the corner from me, and he told me he had something he wanted me to see, and that I was really going to like it. And he had a Sears Silvertone guitar. I immediately, when I saw it, I just couldn't believe it. It was so nice and shiny, and then he had an old reel-to-reel tape recorder with a 1/4-inch jack. He plugged the guitar in, and he started beating on the guitar and cursing something awful. It was the worst thing I ever heard in my life. And then I looked at the guitar, and it seemed like something was missing. It only had 2 strings. And he said, well, there were 3, but I broke one. I don't know how to get another. I went home and I asked my mother, I want a Sears Silvertone guitar. And she bought me a guitar, but the translation kind of got messed up because I told her it had 3 strings. So she bought me a bass, which had 4 strings. So I never got the guitar I wanted, and it took me years to get off the bass. But I learned the bass, and I was bad at it.
Who taught you?
No one taught me. I listened to the radio. Back then, there was a whole lot of music on the radio. I loved Elvis Presley. I wanted to be Elvis Presley. I didn't quite measure up, but
you didn't have those hips?
No, you know, and I didn't have much rhythm, but on the guitar, I started getting really good because I ran into another guy that played the bass, and I started playing the guitar because he was so good. We formed a band together. We traveled all over the eastern United States and Canada, and we played in many places. We traveled around with so many famous bands, Patti LaBelle, Red Fox we played behind. We played Newark Symphony Hall, and this was all before the age of 20 years old. And then I kind of got away from the music. I started working. And it was until years later that I picked the music back up again. And now...
How did you start picking it up again? What made you pick that up?
Well, I was with a girlfriend, and, and we were out at an auction, and I saw a guitar, and I told her, I can play that guitar. And she says, no, you can't. You never told me you played the guitar. She says, if you can play that guitar, I'll buy it for you. And that's how I got started. So now I've had many instruments. I have my own studio, which every time new technology comes along, I revamp everything.
So, can I ask where your studio is? Where was it at the time?
My studio is right where I live.
Oh, okay.
And what happens is, I have it set up so it doesn't matter whether I get up at 7 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. I can go and everything is fresh in my mind. And it seems like it would be perfect, but it's not, because I'll have a perfect song in my head. Right. I'll sit down and start working on it. And by the time I finish it, it's something totally different. And that might be good and it might be bad. You know, I've done at least 3,000 songs since I've been here in the village.
Okay, I'd like everybody to hear one of those songs that really you like. It's Shot of Jazz. It's from one of his...
This is from my newest CD. Yeah. faded.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you arrange this music that you're playing, like that you just played for us? How is that arranged?
Well, each song is different. Each song is a separate entity into itself because sometimes I start with a beat, sometimes I start with a bass or a guitar part, and a lot of the music that I do, it comes from me in my sleep. I'll think about something, I wake up, I'll go run to start the music, and like I say, it may come out exactly like I want, or it might be something totally different by the time I finish. But when I do a song, like I say, I finish the song, I listen to it in several different devices, the car, Walkman, and the song must sound good on all media. And if it doesn't, I go back and I fix it because I'm able to go back in and fix a guitar part, take out a bass part, fix the drums, the tempo of the song I can change. And then when I finish the whole thing, then I go to post-production work, which is my engineering work. A song may sound good in the beginning, but with post-production work, with like reverb, or different things that I can add to the mix, I can make it sound the way I want it to sound.
Are you playing the instruments individually and then putting them together, or?
Yes, because I work with a multi-track recorder, an 8-track recorder. A lot of people work with 24, 48 tracks, but 8 tracks seems to be perfect for me because there's 8 distinct tracks, they're discrete. You don't hear any noise outside of that track. And then when I combine them together, a lot of times I can put them into a stereo track and record 3 or 4 more tracks over that. That's how I do so many instruments on one recording.
And who uses this music, this type of music? Is it just like people listen to it because they like this sound, they play it on the car or at home, or is it used for TV or movies? How is it used?
Well, my music is basically designed for TV, film, and video games. I'm not making music to become hits. I am making music that you can listen to. It's very relaxing. You can listen to it anywhere, anytime, but I don't do a lot of storytelling. I do a lot of instrumentals. I do some vocals, and when I do vocals, I don't do music about certain things. I don't do music about politics or sex, or I don't do music about drugs. I do music that's basically about something other than those things.
Pleasant things.
Pleasant things. Because if you want to take 5 minutes of your life, feel a little bit better about your situation, then you don't need somebody telling you, I lost my wife, I lost my dog, I feel terrible today. You know, that
Very true.
you do not need.
Right.
So my music is basically to make you feel good for a few minutes.
I think that's great. That's the way it should be. And I'm sorry.
Okay, ask me another question.
I'm sorry about that. Somebody walked in here. I wasn't expecting it. I lost my train of thought. Thank you so much. You sing in some of them. You do have some that you have a vocal part in.
Yes, I do.
And you do that yourself. You don't hire somebody to do that for you.
No, I had bands for many, many years, and I found people to be unreliable or they just don't want to do it. So I learned how to play all the instruments and do all the singing myself. It might not be as good, but I know I'm reliable.
How many instruments do you play?
I play many instruments, I guess about 13 in total. When I started out playing music, I started out playing in bands and orchestras. I played the trumpet, I played the tuba, I played the sousaphone, I played the baritone. I tried everything until I found the instruments that I really like to play.
And what's your favorite? The guitar?
My favorite is the guitar, with 6 strings, not 4.
6 strings. Oh, wait. We went from 2, one was broken, to 3. Now it's 6 strings.
Yes, I went from the bass guitar
Right.
to the electric guitar. I do play acoustic. I play mandolin. I play a banjo. These are not my favorite instruments, but as long as I can make a sound on them, I'll find some way to incorporate it into the music, because any cool sound is good in the music.
Okay, fine. What was your favorite band?
My favorite band was a band I was in called Creative Pleasure. Many of the people that were in that band are deceased now. But we were one of the hottest bands in Trenton in a long time, because we had a show like nobody else. We had a show where we didn't have a set. We didn't have a set of 8 songs or 10 songs. We would go on the stage with no show. We would create all the music spontaneously on the stage. We had about 12 members in that band, and that was the best band I was ever in.
It was like a jam session, kind of.
It was a jam
with
session, but we created all the changes in the music. We created all of the vocals in the music
Right
on the spot. We had a singer who was magnificent. He could come up with a whole song by just hearing a few bars. We never looked at written music. We never had anything in front of us to prompt us. It was always ad lib. The bass player would play something and I would know where to go from him. The drummer would know where to go from me. The whole band was like that. And it was a pleasure. Every time we never ran out of music, because we always had more. We played at Newark Symphony Hall, and it was one of the greatest shows that we ever did. And we didn't even play the kind of music that the people were expecting. The first song, they just sat there looking at us like, what is this? But then by the 4th song, we had them. We had people dancing. We had an electric flute player, which back in the late 60s was never heard of before. We had an electric flute player. We had so much going on. We had conga drums. We had a Latin sound. We had a funk sound. We had a rock sound. We had all the sounds, and we were in demand back then. So I try, like the music that I do today, it will never surpass what I was doing with them, but I'm trying to kind of incorporate some of those sounds and some of those memories in my music now. I try to make the songs, each one different than the next. You know, I don't just make one type of style. I try to keep morphing different things, different genres. And matter of fact, I play funk music, which is no longer considered to be a genre in music today. It is a subgenre. We need to bring it back because it's great music.
I have a question. How did you come up with the name Earthworm for your...
Well, my mother started that. She used to, she used to say I would come up with some crazy names. And one time she said to me, she said, well, you know, you're going to name this album something really stupid, like Maggots on the Moon. So that's what it became.
Maggots on the Moon?
Yes, but Maggots on the Moon is M-O-M, which is mom.
Okay. How did she feel about that?
She was so mad, but then when she heard the songs, she started to like them. And we fought so many times because she actually owned the music production company that I work for. She created that company herself. And she was really the brains behind the music. I would play the music, and she had all of the expertise as far as financial and who to talk to. She could get someone on the phone in an instant, which a person that would not even acknowledge me. And so I leaned heavily upon her. And I always said I would never curse in my music, because my mother was still alive. And then when she passed, I still couldn't bring myself to do it. You know, it's like a moral obligation. And so my music is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be relaxing. It's supposed to be for enjoyment. And if any of my music was to make anyone feel controversial about it, then I wouldn't do it. I do music to try to heal people, make people feel good for a few seconds.
To relax.
Yeah, that's all. It's all in fun. That's why I play funk music. You can't spell funk without F-U-N. Fun.
I'm going to ask you to explain about this song, but I have a question. Does it have anything to do with Funkadelic, the band that used to play years ago?
Well, I never played in Funkadelic. They're my favorite band. They did a lot of wild things in the early 70s. And matter of fact, they're still a band today. And George Clinton is one of my favorites because his philosophy about life was so radical, outrageous, but he's a genius. And so I said I would do a kind of a homage to them to you know, kind of depict my viewpoint of their music. So I named this song The New Funk Mob because they always call themselves the United States Funk Mob. So my new funk mob has to do with aliens coming down to Earth because they don't like the music we play. And that if we continue on the path that we're on now, our planet will just explode. So they came down here to help us, get us back on the right path. And some of the lyrics in the song, I feel, to me, I wrote them, but they feel great because I say, if y'all want something to do, get back to that blue suede shoe. Because I'm a big Elvis fan, always have been, and I love that kind of music. And then I also say, you know, some of that stuff that you listen to today, it has no time and it has no place. It's not going to last. Some music is enduring. No matter what year you listen to it, it still brings back memories and it sounds good. Some of the music they do today will be forgotten, and some of it's been forgotten from 2 months ago. So what I'm trying to say is that someone needs to save the earth from bad music and bring back good music, music that your kids can listen to, because your kids don't need to be 5 years old and walking around talking about, you know, stuff they shouldn't even know about yet. So I think that it just makes me feel so good when I hear music and I see little children dancing and having a good time. It's nothing better than that.
Okay, let's listen to this wonderful song.
Just got here yesterday. I'm here from beyond the way. We ain't here to stay, just to spread some from your way. We the new funk mob, good God. We the new funk mob, good God. We ain't got much time. Listen up, move your behind. Y'all done lost the groove. We're gonna make your body move. We the new funk mob, good God. We the new funk mob, good God. Some of that crap y'all hear today, it ain't got no time, it ain't got no place.
Okay.
Y'all want something to do, get back to that blue suede shoe. With the new funk mob, good God. With the new funk mob.
The next question to you is, what advice would you give to a newcomer in this field?
Well, I would just say, whatever type of music you choose to like, don't ever just pattern yourself after someone else, because their style is going to change and your style must change. You must evolve in the music and find your own niche and find your own style. It's very hard to come up with an identity in music where anybody that listens to my music, they can tell it's me. If someone else makes music and you're copying off of someone else, they'll never know who you are. So you have to be true to yourself. Don't try to be American Idol. Learn your own style, learn where you fit in. And maybe you have no music talent, but find it out. You know, maybe you have music talent. A lot of people don't find out what they're meant to do, and therefore they will never know. And like they say, you don't miss what you don't have.
Yeah, well,
but
just be an individual.
yes,
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
Be yourself and true to yourself. I want to thank you, Alan. This was a pleasure. This concludes our Spotlight program for today. It has been recorded and will be shown this evening at 6 p.m. and Tuesday and Thursday at 1 and 6 p.m. Thank you again.
That's it.